How's it going, everyone? Quite a lot of talk in regards to Warner Brothers and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I mean, this is a game we've been covering all year long, and I've made it abundantly clear on my feelings of the game and how WB potentially might have done Rocksteady dirty. However, some news and notes are coming out that maybe Rocksteady wasn't quote-unquote forced to make Suicide Squad. I don't think they were forced to do anything, but I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. As noted on Forbes, WB blames Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for their quarterly financial miss. WB Discovery CEO just said on an earnings call that contributing to losses in the company's quarterly financials was the disappointing release of Suicide Squad and actually took an impairment charge for it. Earnings have crashed year over year, given that in 2023, the mega hit Hogwarts Legacy was out, and despite this disparity, David Zaslav has previously said WB plans to double down on live service games. We don't know Suicide Squad's full budget nor its full scope of skills, but given what we do know, a tremendous loss is likely, and in the current video game industry climate, it seems like there may be some very bad news for developer Rocksteady in the near future. There was also notes that WB didn't force Rocksteady to do Suicide Squad, and generally speaking, how corporations work is you aren't forced to do anything, but how these things typically work from what I know is that there's verbiage exchange, there's dialogue exchange that would push a development studio to do one thing over the other. It'll be a wink and a nod because they want to leave the illusion that the studio did things of their own volition, but at the end of the day, they were, nudged to go in one direction. I'm just saying that would be my speculation. I don't know. Maybe Rocksteady did want to do a live service game, and they're like, man, I just think battle passes would change the way we do video games, and battle passes is something we want to implement really badly because it can become the next layer to a game to make it incredibly more compelling. Maybe that's what they thought. Maybe they thought the additional layer of monetization would take them another step further. Generally speaking, I would think that that type of thinking would come from the publisher, because the publisher is the ones really making the financial decisions, and WB has been very open and very vocal about the fact that they want to double down on live service games. And I think if you look at WB in totality, yeah, Hogwarts Legacy was a mega hit in 2023. It didn't have any crazy monetization elements attached to it outside of the baked-in fake early access. But guys, I'm gonna be real, I think Hogwarts Legacy 2 is absolutely going to have some microtransactions. The fact that that game sold like 23 million copies, I would imagine that the higher-ups at WB are salivating at the thought of, oh my goodness, we can make a Hogwarts Legacy 2 and we can sell hopefully 20 million copies again, but this time around get additional monetization and hopefully sell content in-game to 8 or 10 million of those 20 million people. I would imagine that that's what they think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that would just be my speculation, because do I really think that David Zaslav is sitting down and thinking about how can we let these studios make the best games possible? No, in his position, I imagine he's thinking about how the hell do we make the most amount of money possible, and from his standpoint, making the most amount of money would be to monetize major IPs, have talented studios create these games that can be monetized for longer than just the initial sales period. And it's not like WB exclusive. Ubisoft does it, PlayStation does it, EA does it. Generally speaking with live service games, how it works is you're gonna fire a lot of misses, but you're gonna land on a couple titles. Hopefully, you hope you're gonna land on a couple titles that are gonna just make you so much money. That's what's happened with Ubisoft. Ubisoft has had a lot of L's like Skull and Bones, but when you can monetize IPs like Assassin's Creed beyond the initial purchase, when you have a Rainbow Six Siege that you're still able to monetize, when you have these games that you can monetize for years and years. I mean, think about Siege coming out back in 2015. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was getting content for years. And that's your typical single-player Assassin's Creed game. They've effectively monetized a lot of their IPs, and that is incredibly effective in terms of long-term financial gains, which Ubisoft has seen, and that's why they're not going to slow down at any point in the near future in terms of monetizing their games. That's why Star Wars Outlaws is getting crazy with the, early access, the day one DLC, so on and so forth. That's just something you're going to see. They don't want to raise the price point of $70 because if they can keep the illusion that their games are the same price as everyone else's, at $70 is kind of that price point where people are not super comfortable in paying, but comfortable enough where they can get away with it. But in reality, a lot of these games are moving towards, if you want all of the content, if you really want to experience everything, get ready to drop $100, $110, $130. It's all about monetizing games in creative ways. You're seeing that with other publishers like Sega. They're monetizing things like Persona 3 Reload. Base game is $70. There's a $100 Ultimate Edition. Oh, by the way, we're not going to announce it right away, but we're going to drop a $30 expansion pass that gets you the FES content. Sega also did it with like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Yeah, the base game is $70, which was already $10 more expensive than previous RGG games, but you want New Game Plus, a feature that traditionally would be free for all consumers, all buyers? This time around, you gotta spend an extra $15 for the Digital Deluxe Edition. It's all about getting more and more creative with your monetization and how you can extend the monetization periods of these games. And they're getting pretty crafty with these things, you know? Nothing really surprises me at that point, but yeah, let me end that tangent. As far as Suicide Squad goes, it was a complete train wreck, a complete disaster, and hopefully, you know, Rocksteady will be given an opportunity for another game, but honestly, given that the period between Arkham Knight and Suicide Squad was 9 years, yes, 9 years in between games, you would think that in that period you could have at least put out 2 of your regular single-player games, and maybe that would have been better in retrospect. Hindsight being 2020, I know we can't have the 2-year turnaround times that we had with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, but man, if we could get like 3.5-year turnaround times for games, you could have put out 2 and had a third single-player game in development in the time period that Suicide Squad needed to come out. Like 9 years, and this is the disaster that you're dropping. We talk about studios being washed. BioWare is washed. Bethesda Game Studios at this point pretty washed to me. Rocksteady has to be in that category, and I get it that a lot of people left Rocksteady. Rocksteady is really a shell of their former self. I believe a lot of the developers at Rocksteady formed a new studio called 100 Eye Games, something like that. 100 Star Games. So Rocksteady is really in name only Rocksteady, but they promoted Suicide Squad with coming from the developers of Batman Arkham. So if you're going to promote the game as coming from the developers of Batman Arkham, I'm expecting Batman Arkham level of quality. And yeah, 9 years to get Suicide Squad. Rocksteady is absolutely washed. And given that Rocksteady, for the late 2000s into the 2010s, they were one of the prominent studios that they were revered among the gaming community. Oh, Rocksteady's dropping a game, even though all we knew them for was Batman Arkham. You knew you were going to get quality, and that has just completely dissipated. And the same can be said with BioWare. The same can be said with Bethesda at this point. The same can almost be said for Naughty Dog, but not to that extent, given that Last of Us Part 2, I would say, is a divisive game, but a lot of people did really enjoy it. I would just say Naughty Dog lacks any level of consistency at this point. No new game in 4 years. Back in late 2000s, early 2010s, man, they were dropping games every 2 years, and I would say their games back then were much better than their games now, but that's kind of the reality in gaming. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.